Business, hustle, entrepreneurship, making money, changing lives, success is all about having the skills. When I say the skills, I mean marketing, sales, leadership, management, team, insert everything that's to do with skill building.
I think that you make more money when you experience more joy. I think anyone can grind and make a lot of money. I think that that's been proven time and time and time again. I think it can. I just don't think it's sustainable.
If you're listening to this and you're like, I want a 7-figure business and you're not there yet, it could be a lack of skills. Welcome to the Success School podcast. We are on episode 53, and today we're talking about how we run a 7-figure business from anywhere in the world on less than 15 hours a week. Steph, we are back from the Gib River. How are you feeling? Give us an update just on the feels. Let's go into the feels. Let's get cry happening.
We don't need to cry. You know, you can
That's
have
what feelings portray.
No, you
Crying.
can have feelings that aren't sad.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
The only feeling you feel is sadness.
Impossible. Shout out to my sponsor. If you guys are on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, check it out. Dog and Gun Coffee.
They actually
Dog
are not.
and Gun. They're not sponsored.
They
by the way.
literally have not sponsored you at all.
I've just bought their products and I'm saying I'm sponsored, so sponsored athlete. All right, guys, we're going to get into a life update. So as you may or may not be aware, we sold our gym, which is hurrah. Steph looks 10 years younger after post-sale. So if you think she looks 10 years younger, let her know. She would love that. And we've been bodybuilding. I've been bodybuilding. Steph's been making shit up at the gym and just following no program. And I got to say, I'm fucking loving it. It's so nice.
Tim just doesn't program for the things that I want to do.
And what do you want to do?
I just want to do booty and back.
Booty and back. Okay.
That's it.
So just hip thrusts and pull downs.
No, I hate hip thrusts.
Okay, cool. So this is just typical like relationship. Anything I say is just not good enough.
Another coach could come in and be like, you didn't do hip thrusts.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah,
man,
you're right, I
it's
do.
standard.
I do.
Anyway, I've been loving bodybuilding. So when I started in the fitness industry, entrepreneurial, I started as bodybuilder or in bodybuilding and then transitioned to athletes and then I transitioned to group training slash shit CrossFit and now I'm back to bodybuilding. So it's like the circle of life has just continued, and obviously Steph hasn't said this, but I know when she looks at me she thinks this. I look jacked,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I don't say it because I don't need to because he's telling himself, and I'm terrified that his head won't fit out of this room if I continue to tell him.
It won't. Personal update, Steph. What's going on for you?
I don't want to brag, but I'm going to. So just watch me for a sec. We have been on the Gib River, obviously. And so what happened was that, you know, you can't take a gym with you. There's not many gyms as you're traveling. And so one thing that we took up was running. And it's something that we are not good at. Like, and I could say to begin with, we really sucked. Like, there have been times where like a K has
Speak for
felt.
yourself, man.
No, you sucked.
Steph beat me at running.
Legit. Excuse me, you're beating my punchline. I beat you. That was the punchline. But we have been practicing running. Been running every couple of days, and at first the first kilometer was killer. You know, I think the first couple of runs we did were 2K, 3K, and we were dying, and it was really hard. And over the course of 2 to 3 weeks, we just kept at it and kept going, and we were sweating, and we're running on dirt, and big trucks were going past, and they're spraying rocks up, and it was hectic. And we got back to Broome about a week ago now, and we decided we had made it our mission that we were going to run 10Ks, and we did it. I was having a bit of a bad morning.
You're having the worst morning.
I was having the worst morning. Yep. So I had a really bad night's sleep the night before. My phone wasn't charged. I couldn't find my headphones. Like, it was just not going my way, but we did it. We ran 10Ks and I beat Tim by 5 minutes, or like 4 minutes 20.
5 minutes.
4 minutes 20. And I just want to put that on record that, I beat him. So
I just want to, tell us in as much graphic detail as possible. When we were waking up in the caravan, what was like our first sight in the morning? It was like a circle shaped thing, and it was surrounded by fur, and it was coming at us every morning. What happened?
Our dogs love to like sit on us, and sometimes they choose to sit very close to our faces, and so they will often just plonk. Like, we'll be just fast asleep. Dogs will jump on the bed and just plonk their butts down basically on our chest or on our face, but like their tails are up. So it's like
dog olive in the face.
It's just really, really hyper.
Dog olive.
Yeah, it was a lot. It's been a lot.
All right. We've been talking shit. We're going to get into it now. So we're going to give you guys the goods on how we run a 7-figure business anywhere in the world on less than 15 hours a week. No, the answer is not Starlink, although that does help. We will give you some hacks on that. Steph, just give me like a summary. How do we do it?
the number one thing is we made a choice, and we, I literally wrote about this yesterday on my social media, but like 18 months ago, we were not in this position. We could not have taken a holiday like this. We could not have taken a break like this. We could not have only worked 15 hours a week, not just because we had 2 businesses. That is definitely part of the reason, but more so because we just had set our businesses up in a way that we thought we had to in order to create the financial freedom that we wanted. And what we actually did by setting our businesses up like everybody else's and copying the path that was already laid out was that we got what everybody else has, which is a hell of a lot of stress, a hell of a lot of team members, a hell of a lot of things to manage, and it wasn't fun anymore, and it was actually a real trap for us. And so we made a very conscious choice to change the way that we do business. And then once you make that choice, it's not just making the choice, because once you make the choice, amazing. And then you actually have to move forward with that choice, and every action that you take and every decision that you make has to be in alignment with that choice. And so the way that we did it was we chose to do it. And then over the course of probably 12 months, we set our business up in a way to actually do it. So I want to be really clear. If you're listening to this episode today, it's not like, hey, and we have helped clients do it a lot faster, but obviously we have quite a large business. And so it does take a little bit longer. We liken the size of your business to kind of, if you're an owner operator, it's like a jet ski. You can change things really quickly, but you can't kind of go long distances. You can go on a speedboat, which is where you have a small agile team. It's quite easy to move things around. The bigger your business gets, the more team members you have, it gets into like a cruise ship. So it's really hard to turn around, but you can take on a lot more and you can go for a lot longer. And so for us, we wanted to be in the speedboat, and that's what we've created, but it's taken us a bit of time.
I just want to clarify here. We say 15 hours a week, but that's 15 hours maintenance mode, and that wouldn't be growth mode. Okay, so that's kind of just maintaining what we got at the moment. People would hear this and they'd be like, whatever, you fucking liars, like 15 hours a week. I know you guys work more than that. Yeah, we work more than that when we're in a growth hustle cycle. When we're on holidays or we're traveling, like literally that's 15 hours. And that would be like content, client fulfillment, basically just keeping the wheels on.
So Tim, people listening, they maybe don't believe us. And I get it, because I also have been those people who don't believe people when they say things on the internet. We can totally prove it to you guys if you want. We can take a photo of our calendars. But Tim, what is the quote unquote, no calendar, exactly. What is the quote unquote secret to creating a business like this?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what not the secret is, and not the secret is not having enough skills. So I'd say the secret is having the skills to be able to execute it at a high level. I think when you first get into it, you have literally no skills. And some people come with the illusion that they do have the skills, but they don't, because the results they're getting proves that they don't have the skills. Okay. Business, hustle, entrepreneurship, making money, changing lives, success is all about having the skills. Okay. And when I say the skills, I mean marketing, sales, leadership, management, team, insert everything that's to do with skill building. So how do we do it? Is we became highly skilled. And we studied, we got mentors, we got coaches, we did courses, we worked on our weaknesses, we did all those types of things. If you're listening to this and you're like, I want a 7-figure business, and you're not there yet, it could be a lack of skills. Okay. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. I don't mean that to like point at you and be like, oh, you suck, you don't have the skills. That's not it. It's a maybe have a step back and a self-reflection on what you need to improve. Do you need to get better at sales? Do you need to get better at marketing? Do you need to get better at leadership? Do you need to get better at management? Because you can't just delegate all of those things, especially in the small business owner world. And I always give the analogy, and people ask me, they're like, hey, what do you reckon I should just hire someone to do my Facebook ads? And I'm like, yes, but you need to learn it first. Otherwise, you're just going to get ripped off. Okay. And you won't really know what the results mean. You won't really know how to audit it, and you won't really know how to check it. Same goes to everything in business. If you just outsource management, or you outsource leadership, or you outsource sales, and you have no idea on what's actually good, you're probably never really going to get to that 7-figure. So you need to learn those skills yourself, then hire the people to replace you when the time is right, or never at all.
I want to touch on, we had these connection calls where we chat with other entrepreneurs who are doing pretty big things, and it's really inspiring. We share notes, and it's really cool. We had a really cool one from the caravan with a friend of ours called Jacob, and he's been doing some really big stuff and absolutely crushing in his niche. He's also a business coach. And he basically spoke about the fact that, and he's very young and he's doing very well. And he spoke about the fact that in every single day, week, month, year, he's really hyper focused on his weakness. So he finds his weaknesses, or he finds his constraint, but usually he spoke about it more so from a personal development or a skill set point of view, which Tim was just discussing before. He finds his weakness, and then he goes and hires the person to help him upskill in that area so that he can no longer have that as his weakness. And he's generating like $300,000 a month in his business, which is wild.
At 25.
Because his sole focus, like all the time is, what is the constraint, what is the weakness, and how can I fix it? And so it's okay that you don't have the skills. Like, damn, I didn't have the skills. Like, if you go back and you watch our first Instagram videos, if you go back and watch our first, have a look at our first lot of marketing, our business cards, the first episode of this podcast, guys, our first 1 kilometer we ran, it's okay. You don't have to have the skills, but you do need to choose to work on them. So find the biggest constraint for you and your business and focus on upskilling on that. So if you know that you really suck at marketing and copy, you don't want to outsource that for the rest of your life. And also, again, if you don't know what's good, you won't even be able to outsource it. And so work on it. Like, find someone to work on it with, work on it. And, 2 to 3 months, you'll probably be really upskilled, and then you can move on to the next thing and the next thing. And then within 12 months, you have an incredible suite of skills, and you will never have a problem making money ever again. So yeah, you're right. One of the secrets is that we have developed incredible skills.
Anything I missed I think that's the main one.
It is the main one. Yeah.
So Steph, I'm going to ask a systems and process question. I know that's not your area of expertise, but recently I feel like we've really got this specific one dialed in, and I hope you're catching my drift with what I'm talking about here. But we implemented this one, system and process, and it's really changed the game for us in terms of our consistency. And that consistency has, grown our business incrementally. And by the time this episode airs, we'll be having our biggest impact month and revenue month in our history, all because of the work we've done over the last couple of months. Okay. So when someone says, they're an overnight success, no, it's repeated successes over a very long time, or small successes that lead to a big success. And Steph, tell us about it. What is it? What's the secret?
So we've given it to our clients, but it is our marketing spreadsheet. It's our OS. It's actually not even just our marketing spreadsheet. It's an everything sheet. But the main one that we're speaking about specifically here is our marketing OS, because Tim has created, it's genius and it's so incredible. This incredible, it sounds like a spreadsheet, sounds really boring, but it's very visual. And the best thing about it is, so basically it has Steph's tasks, Tim's tasks, admin's tasks, like literally every single person's tasks are on this one page. And they have all these, done or not done columns. So it's broken up all the tasks between Monday and Sunday, what needs to be done each day. It's very visual, and you tick it off every day. And the best thing about this sheet is that everybody can see it and everybody's got to open at all times. So if you say, so one of my things is like that I'm going to post on Instagram twice a day. I'm really consistent 7 days a week at posting on my social media, but doing it twice a day, I'm not as consistent with. And it's really easy to convince yourself like, oh, I've been pretty consistent, because if you're not seeing it visually, you don't remember whether you did or didn't do it. Right. Yeah. And it's really easy to lie to yourself and tell yourself that you're doing more than you are. It's just natural. It's natural for humans. Right. So the best thing about this spreadsheet is that, if I haven't done it, I have to tick not done. And it's a very, very visual thing for all of us to work out of. And what it's allowed, especially me, what it's really allowed me to do is to be able to get all of my marketing done in just a few hours a week. Like literally, I think it takes me longer than it takes Tim. I would say that I get all of my marketing done within 4 to 5 hours a week. Now, I want to be really clear. That's not just on Instagram. That's 2 posts on Insta every day. That's selling on stories. That's talking to stories. That's reaching out for quarterly speaking gigs. That's posting on my personal Facebook. That's podcasting. And it's so many more things than just like the posting actual, the emails. It's going live, all these things. And so posting in our Facebook group that we have. It's just, there's so much stuff, guys, that, and you don't have to be doing all those things. Obviously, we have a business that is larger and growing, but if you want to be held consistent and you want to be, held accountable for it, having a tracking measure of some sort to help you is just so game changing, because I'm fairly inconsistent, I would say, as a person, and something that I'm really working on. But this spreadsheet really has changed the game for me. So congratulations on creating that. Yeah.
So just a little side note on that. I created a marketing assessment as well in Success School. We gave it out to our clients, and it's basically out of 45, and you rate yourself. And there's a bunch of key areas. A lot of our clients were getting, in the 10s to 20s. And this isn't like we're fucking killing it. This is like we're just more consistent with these things. Steph and I both got in the 40s. So top score is 45. And that's why we get a lot of leads, inquiries. Our podcast is doing well. It's because we're brutally consistent. It's not what you do like when you're feeling good. It's what you do when you're feeling shit. It's what you do consistently that matters. Okay. Marketing is about doing it consistently. And like the analogy I always give to our clients is they're like, yeah, I've been marketing. I'm like, cool, for how long? And they're like, I've been consistent for a week. I'm like, cool. So what happened previously to that? They're like, oh, I wasn't really feeling it for the last 6 weeks. I kind of lost my mojo. And I'm like, what would your prospect think? So in this situation, put yourself in my shoes. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, if you don't, go check it out. And I just stopped posting for 6 weeks. Then I come back and I'm trying to sell something. You'd be like, this guy's untrustworthy. He's flaky. he's all over the shop and he's inconsistent. Why the fuck would I want to go work with Tim? Like, he doesn't even know what's up. And then people are like, why is my business not growing? Because you can't even do the basics. That's the key.
Yeah. And I think it is just, it's really, guys, like, it doesn't even have to be good. It just needs to be done. And the good will come from the doing. Like, that's, like we tell our clients all the time, like, it's not say post quantity over quality. We definitely want to aim for quality, but you sitting around perfecting a caption for an entire week before posting it is unhelpful. Put it up, you'll get better at it over time, and you will improve every single time you hit post, and you'll see what people resonate with. And like, this is my favorite saying, I've been saying it everywhere all the time, but you can't learn to play tennis by, just sitting on the sidelines. Like, you have to get in the game, and it doesn't matter if you suck, you have to pick up the racket, you just have to go. It's a reps thing. The more reps you do, the better you get. It's just one of those things.
So I just want to move into delegation and expectations, because I think they're two key areas here. So in terms of delegation, Steph, I think like we have a little bit of a different take on delegation. And what I mean by that is we don't really have a stranglehold on the tasks in our business. We're not micromanagers. We don't like fully oversee things. We kind of have a lot of trust in our team. Can you just talk us through like delegation, how that works, what kind of things we delegate, what that looks like, and the stuff we don't?
So I'll hit the things we don't. We don't delegate out our personal brand marketing. So 90% of the marketing that Tim and I do is personal brand. So that's, our thought leadership, our personal stories. We're really leaning more deeply as we move into 2024 and 2025 into building a personal brand. And so you can't delegate social media if you're a personal brand, because they can't talk like you, they can't be you, and they can't take your ideas, and they can't take your leadership, and they can't take your opinions, and they can't find those things, and those things matter if you're building a personal brand. And so we don't outsource any of the marketing you guys see that's organic. We don't outsource any of that. Okay. The only thing that we outsource at the moment is Facebook ads. We have a team member who's been helping out with that and been doing really amazing work. Outside of that, we outsource a lot of just the admin stuff. So, all client admin. So if they're wondering about when their contract ends, or can they get access to something, or like that, they're having an issue getting access to a Google Sheet or something like that, whatever it might be, we have a team member that manages all of the client admin. We delegate and outsource all things like landing page building, website building, copywriting for our website. We also delegate out. It would just take, we
flesh it out, and then we just have someone like fine over it.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like, I'm also happy for a copywriter to come in and do the thing, and then we'll just take it and then just edit it all so it feels more like us. So we would never give something to a copywriter and then just put it up and be like, that's perfect, because it wouldn't be. And that's not any slight on any copywriters, just that you're not us. And so we will go in and just flesh that out. But anything to do with website creation, funnel creation, landing pages, lead magnets, any of those things that like the building of the back end of that all gets delegated. We delegate our podcast. So we obviously record it, write it, all of those things. But as soon as we finish hitting record and we close this episode, we have an incredible podcast management team who go away and make all the reels for us and edit it. TBC Studios, we love you. We're so grateful for you guys. They're so amazing. Guys, if you're thinking about podcast, we love Alicia and her team. So TBC Studios do that for us, which has been so awesome. We delegate out, all of our, of course, like most of our photos, like professional imagery and stuff like that, Steph White does for us. We have, things we won't delegate. We won't delegate very, very, very rarely unless we have to take a break for whatever reason, but we very rarely delegate coaching.
Just one last week. The first one in 1 year.
The first time we've had anyone take over on our coaching in 1 year was last week, because we had a big travel day. And so we show up every day to our coaching, every single day, 7 days a week. We show up for our clients to help them, and we don't delegate out our social media. Did I miss anything?
No, you nailed it. I think I'll go through expectations. So as a person with quite high standards, I'm actually building a business called The Standard, just as a little side project. We have high standards on our team, and we have high expectations. That kind of comes from us, and I think it's very important to have a great culture that the standards are high. With high standards, obviously, comes high expectations, and with high expectations come high performance.
Can you tell the little story of what you did with the YouTube editor this week?
Yeah. So we have a YouTube editor, and like, he might watch this, and sorry, SJ. But so he's been editing our vlogs, and he's been a little late. I fucking hate lateness. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I hate someone. If you say you're going to be somewhere at 11 a.m., be there at fucking 10:55. Like, that's just personal standards, like real army style. I don't hate it when anyone shows up late for anything. So he kept telling me, he goes, 3 days for the vlogs. And they were like, first one was 6 days. And then the second one was 10. And then the third one turned around to be 2 weeks. And I said to him after, I said, hey, SJ, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm going to give you a little business lesson here if you want to, be successful in this video editing thing. You didn't ask for it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, especially if we want to keep working together. I don't care if you take 2 weeks to do something. Just tell me it's going to take 2 weeks at the start. Don't tell me it's going to take 3 days. And he was like, oh, shit. And I was like, dude, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It just matters that you hit the fucking deadline. Okay. And that's the same in business. So we finished up our intensive last Friday in Broome, and Steph and we both felt like we were hit by a fucking car.
It's a lot to present.
Yeah, I was wrecked. I was dead. I've been driving for like weeks. So we went home and we kind of just made an agreement. I was like, we'll just leave school today. They'll be fine. So school's our private network of Facebook. I went back to the caravan and I lied down and I was like, nah, you're a piece of shit. Like, do it. Do what you said you were going to do and like hit the standard. So I got on, I answered like 20 client questions. Took me fucking ages because I said I would. Had that little bitch voice in my head that was like, it's okay, take a day off, they won't mind, but I didn't hit my standards. I'm not perfect with that, but I'm probably like 99%. Sometimes I miss and sometimes things fall through the gaps, but I'm actively trying to hold the standard and the expectations for myself. And when I do that and Steph does that, it transfers down to our team. Can you tell we did fuck up, and we'll talk about the fuck up, not specifically what the fuck up is.
Yeah, so we made a mistake, and it affected some team members, and not in a big way, not in a way that necessarily they would even care that much, but in a way where for us, it wasn't good enough. And to be fair, a lot of the mistakes actually came from the team, and just things like attention to detail and a few little things like that. And, it would be very easy for us to sit there and blame the team because we could have 100%. The mistakes that were made were definitely the team's responsibility to take on. So we could have sat there, we could have been like, you messed up, you did the wrong thing, like blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, Tim and I have to have some radical responsibility where we go, well, we should have looked over that and we should have double checked. And if we had have double checked a little bit earlier, these things wouldn't have happened. And so what Tim did, and the flow-on effect was quite heavy for the team. And so Tim sent a message to the entire team and took full responsibility. So instead of blaming our team, he took full responsibility. He said, it's not good enough. It's not the standard that we expect from, ourselves. And therefore, that standard got sloppy and we passed that on to you. And now everyone has to kind of pay for it, which really sucks, right? Because we had this goal for the team and we didn't meet the goal and it sucked. And so we took the responsibility. The next day, Tim did go through with the team member who made the mistakes and kind of reiterate that this is not acceptable and these things need to happen moving forward and this needs to be done correctly. But the first thing that we did, and I think, Tim, you actually said to me, I was like, I don't think you needed to put that apology in the group. And he said, if we look to always, pass on responsibility, then they're going to always pass on responsibility. And that's the standard that we start to set. And so the thing that Tim did was he took the responsibility and then the next day he went to the team that was responsible and was like, this isn't good enough and this needs to change. And so I think that was a really beautiful process of showing what leadership looks like. And leadership often looks like going first and not, whatever you do, your team will copy. So if we blame, they're going to blame. And that's going to create a really gross cycle in our business and our teams.
Yeah, and we subsequently had our biggest week ever.
After that.
Yeah.
So
surprise.
We thought we were going to have our worst week ever, and we ended up having our best week ever. So things can turn around really quickly if you just get in the energy. So like blame energy is gross, but a responsibility and like let's all get better together energy is fucking cool, and it's really, really powerful. So
I think we kind of answered the skills question. So I kind of will hit the last one here. Steph, do you need to enjoy business to make money?
This is a hard question because the answer is no. However, I think that you make more money when you experience more joy. So I think anyone can grind and make a lot of money. I think that that's been proven time and time and time again. I think it can. I just don't think it's sustainable. So yeah, you could make a lot of money for 2 to 3 years. You could make a lot of money for 3 to 5 years, but it's not sustainable because it feels like a prison. When you end up hating your business, it feels like a prison. And if you're not experiencing joy in your business, then that transfers because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So if you're not experiencing joy in your business and it's taking over your entire life, your relationships are going to suffer, your health is going to suffer, your relationship with yourself is going to suffer, eventually all those things suffering, your finances will start to suffer and you'll get out anyway. So no, I don't think it's a requirement to enjoy what you do to make money. However, the more that we have enjoyed our business, the more that we have traveled and loved what we do and loved the life that we created and got lit up by the fact that we get to do this, the more money we've made. And over the long-term period, this is super sustainable for us. And it's never felt more sustainable. Like I have a fear of success more so than I have a fear of failure. And usually when we're having quantum leaks like we're having at the moment, I would find ways to self-sabotage, but it feels really sustainable, and it feels like we're very much going to be able to do this for the next 5 to 10 years with no problem at all. And so it feels really good. And because of that, it feels really fun.
Why do you have a fear of success? Where does that come from? Like, let's get deep.
I think I have a fear of change. I was trying to figure this out the other day. My fear of success comes from a fear of change. And, change is the only constant, and logically you can be aware of that. But I've had a lot of change in my life. And I think really when we look back at all of the things, the fear of success starts with my parents failing. And so because my parents, my dad specifically failed at his business, and everything changed, I think that created a fear of change. And I'm terrified sometimes, I get terrified that if we grow too quickly, or if we quantum leap, or if we get any more wealthy, then people will change the way they see us, or we will change, or, people will experience us in a new way, or, our life might change. And interestingly enough, my mind goes to the fact that it will change, but it will change for the negative, which is really interesting, rather than seeing that it will change, or it could potentially change for the positive. And so that's something that I have to really work through. Tim and I are really genuinely sitting on the cusp of a quantum leap right now, and we're about to change probably our financial and impact goals forever in the next couple of weeks. And I had to actually go and have a walk, and I had to go walk it out because I was feeling so stressed about, not stressed, but I was feeling so scared. I was feeling really scared of the changes and the amounts of incredible wins we were about to have. And it's so funny how that can come up at the most random times. Like, most people will be excited. And to be fair, excitement and fear are on the same, like excitement and nervousness are very similar energy frequencies in the body. They feel the same. Heart flutter, butterflies, all those sorts of things can happen in both experiences. But mine was definitely more a fear-based response, and something that I really had to take myself away and work on while we were away.
Yeah, love that. Thanks for sharing. And if you guys got something from that, obviously send Steph a message if you resonated with it. So we were driving from Halls Creek to somewhere else in Western Australia. If you don't know those places, imagine, one of the worst places in the world. And we were listening to Scott Galloway on a podcast. Obviously, very smart guy, teaches at NYU and whatever. And he makes some really good points about money and finance. And he said, you'd be surprised at how passionate you can get about a job you initially didn't like if it makes you a lot of money. And I was like, that's such a good point. And he gave the examples of, there was a guy in London and he was making stone tops or stone bench tops, and he was the only guy in London. He was doing like 1.2 million, just basically being the only guy in London doing stone bench tops. And he'd never met someone so passionate about stone bench tops in his life, or just one thing. And he asked him what the key to getting passionate about it was. And he said, because it makes me a lot of money and supplies my family with the life that we live at the moment. And I was like, that's such a fucking good point. And it's so damn true that if you are doing well financially, you probably get pretty pumped about anything. He also made a really good point about, you just want to be in an unsexy job to be successful or build a 7-figure business. So one of the things that no one else wants to do, and you just want to be in the top 10% of it. Okay, you don't need to be in the top 1% of it. But if you think about a sexy industry, and I'm just going to hit one on the head here, and this is not, if you're in this industry, it's okay, you can be successful in it. But like fitness, like to get really successful in fitness, you really need to be in the top 0.1% of the 1%. Okay, and that's to be really successful. And we look at an unsexy industry, like being an accountant. If you're in the top 10% of accountants, I bet you're fucking rolling in it. So, couple of take home here, guys, is like, start doing something, start making money, start changing lives, and you'll probably get pretty passionate about it over time. And the second one is look for an unsexy industry, because that's where the riches are made.
Love it. Love it. Guys, we have loved chatting with you today about this. We know that right now it may feel really far off for you to have a 7-figure business and work 20 hours a week, maybe even feel hard for you to have a 6-figure business and work 20 hours a week. But I promise you, the number one thing that you have to do to have it is to choose it. You have to choose it. You have to go, that's what I want. And then every decision you make from that, and this is what we work on with our clients every day, the first thing they have to tell us is, what is your goal? And then we will hold you accountable to hitting the goal. And what I mean by accountable is not like we're going to pick you up when you're not showing up. What we mean by accountable is like when you come to us and you're like, hey, I want to do this, we'll be like, okay, but you told us that this was your goal. So if your goal is to travel the world and have lifestyle freedom and financial freedom, that's going to take you away from that. So are you sure that that's what you want to do, right? So we'll constantly hold the mirror up. You have to choose it, and then you have to stay the course. And if you do that for 12 months, sometimes even less than, like Kat in our program did it in a lot less than, yeah, she did it in, a lot less than 6 months. And so you can do it really quickly, but the number one thing is that you have to choose it. So thank you guys so much for being here for this episode, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
As always, guys, leave us a 5-star review and subscribe to the show on whatever platform you are on. Send us some messages of love if you got something out of this episode. That was epic and completely off tangent, but I think that was a fucking awesome episode.
Hope you loved it.